Hey guys, let's start with new chapter of Loyal Pen Volume 2, Chapter 36, Small Letters and Parcels. Luang Feneth spent less than a week preparing for Princess Anel to take the entrance exam to study in an Arctic university for a master's degree major in international architectural design in the Faculty of Architecture, opened for applications for exactly 2 months from the time Princess Anel came back to Thailand. Princess Anel, who's very passionate about education, is delighted to go out to study, meet, and talk with teachers and friends in the department, either on days when she had school hours or even she didn't. Even if during the daytime, that all her devoted attention must be to translating youth literature, not being able to meet face to face and talk with Princess Anel would be more beneficial to Pelantita. But if there was a day when Princess Anil had not yet returned, even though the time has passed until dusk, Lady Pin felt pushed once again into the bottomless pit of familiar waiting. Is Princess Anil coming back late again today? Velantita greeted Prick with the same sentence from last night. She sat on the beige sofa in front of the fire palace, exhausted as soon as she knew that the Pine Palace, at night like this, was still utterly devoid of the shadow of the palace owner. Yes, my lady. Rick hurriedly rushed over and massaged Lady Pelantita's arms in a heartfelt gesture. I heard that during this period, the advisor has an interesting project for Princess Anel to help research further. Oh, I can't understand many of the words. My dumplings will not be eaten again, as usual. Pelantita let out a long sigh. It had been almost a week since she had not seen Princess Anel, and all the snacks that she made every evening had become Prick's fortune every day because Lady Pin did not want Princess Anil to eat cold snacks left out so long, which made them taste worse than they should be. I'm willing to take responsibility for all of this, Prick said, flicking her tongue out and licking her lips when she saw a plate of tempting thin dough pork dumplings in front of her. Ha! Pelantita just laughed dryly, feeling sorry for herself. Eat as much as you want. It's better than throwing it away because the person I want to eat them won't come back to eat. Lady Pin said just as Vogged raised her head high back to the Bua palace in displeasure. Prick raised her neck and looked until she was sure that Pelantita had walked away, until she was out of sight. Prick slowly picked up the thin dough dumplings and put them into her mouth, one by one, with a gesture of great joy. What are you eating, Prick? Please share some with me. I'm starving. Prick choked on a dumpling and had to pound her chest and back with her hand, causing chaos when she learned that the sentence a while ago was from Princess Anil, who had quietly entered the guest room at an unknown time. Forgive me, my lady. There are only 3 or 4 dumplings left. I accidentally ate a little too quickly. Mm. Prick was still stuffed with dumplings until she had to speak and clear her throat, while Princess Anil picked up the dumplings and ate them in a relaxed gesture. Eat slowly, or you'll become stuffed like me. Prick pretended to protest Princess Anil. Nevertheless, in fact, she looked at the dumplings as if different poles of magnets were constantly attracting each other between her and the dumplings. She looked at the first dumpling. She looked at the second dumpling. She looked at the third dumpling. She looked at the last dumpling. Prick, do you want to eat? Even though Princess Anil acted like she ignored Prick, in the end, she couldn't resist Prick's intense look at the dumplings. Mm, uh, Prick chose to answer the noblewoman in front of her by swallowing a big gulp. I give it to you, Princess Anil said, giggling. After Princess Anil's words, in the blink of an eye, the dumplings disappear into Prick's big, thick mouth. Brilliant. Speak slowly, or you might choke again, Princess Anil said, smiling fondly at the Prick. Dumplings taste just right to my preference. It looks like Kunpin probably made them like usual. That matter is sure as death. Brick continued to use her tongue to suck and find the flavor of the pork dumpling along her cheeks and teeth until it was gone entirely. You kept studying until you returned after dark every day. It's a blessing that I have the merit of eating Lady Pin's cooking for many days now. So Kunpin should have protested to me. Princess Anil's bow raised in confusion. Huh, of course she protested. A smile curved at the corner of Prick's lips. You return after dark every day. You talk like you are my wife. Princess Anil smiled teasingly. No, but your real wife. Oops, Kunpin. She complains like this every day. So I remembered it. Prick pretended to raise her palm to cover her mouth in a demeanor gesture when she saw Princess Anil shaking her face to warn Prick to be careful with her words when talking about Lady Pelantita. Kunpin complains about me like this every day? What is she complaining about? She complained that you returned after dark. She can't stay and wait for you to come back to Chan snacks every evening. Do you mean have? Chan used with monks. Princess Anil let out a giggle of affection at Prick again. Please forgive me. Prick pretended to bow her head in a fear of death. No wonder, whenever I return, I haven't seen Kunpin for a day. I didn't even eat a bite of her snacks. You finished it all. I went to bed hungry every night. Do you know that? I deserve to die. Prick smacked her mouth back and forth with a light touch, like was pretending. Please don't die. Princess Anil raised her beautiful face high and glanced at Prick before smiling and curved her lips. Are you worried about me, my lady? Oh no, I'm afraid it will bring bad luck to my palace. If you'll die. If you will die, walk to the front palace to die, you know? You're teasing me, I can tell. Prick took the ball by the horns, smiled from ear to ear. She looked at Princess Anil very flatteringly. Huh, come on, whatever you think. It will be like that. However, I have something to ask you to do. Only one word from you, even if I have to go through water, through fire, carry a jar, and slip through a water jar. I can do it. It's not that difficult. Prick, Princess Anil said, giggling, before reaching out to get her bag to look for a notepad and a pencil to write something about before tearing that paper and folding it in quarters. She gave it to Prick like a kid having fun. Take this letter to Kunpin. Tell her I ask you to bring it to her. Prick rolled her eyes in confusion, unable to follow Princess Anel's thoughts. However, having promised that even if it were more complex than this, she could do for Princess Anel without hesitation. Prick therefore had to hurry to respond to the prince's order. Yes, my lady. Prick flickered her wrist slightly to receive the letter from Princess Anel, then quickly ran out of the sight toward the Bua palace. She managed to sneak into the kitchen, where she had a key, then quietly walked up to the stairs to Lady Pelantita's bedroom. Knock, knock. Pelantita, who at this time was sullen, was sitting at her study table with her arms crossed. She glanced suspiciously at the room door, wondering who could come here to visit her on a dark evening like this. Oh, it's you, Prick. Pelantita's beautiful brow frowned with an emotionless voice. Why do you come to see me at this time? Princess Anil gave this letter to you, my lady. Hearing this, Pilantita turned her arrogant eyes towards the little letter in Prick's hand. She picked up the letter with two fingers and looked at it for a long time. Meanwhile, Prick kept shrinking her neck and holding her head still, looking like a turtle with its head shrunken in its shell. The letter shows, I am back. I haven't seen you for days. Seeing the short content of the letter, Lady Pirantita could only laugh lightly. She shook her head and walked over to the study table in the room, picking up a small, pretty colored notepad on the bookshelf and writing a message without hesitation. Prick, I beg you a bit. Finished writing, Pilantita walked over and brought a small notepaper folded in half to give it to Prick, who was secretly looking at her with suspicious eye in front of the room. Please give this to Princess Anil. Prick accidentally rolled her eyes when she predicted this little letter war wouldn't end quickly. She would have to walk back and forth between the Pine Palace and the Bua Palace several more times. However, she could only respond obediently to Lady Pin's request. Yes, my lady. At the end of her words, Prick walked briskly down the stairs as quietly as possible, then ran towards the Pine Palace. As soon as her body passed the wooden fence behind the Bua Palace, Princess Anil was already seated with her legs crossed on her favorite smoky grey sofa when Prick, panting, ran to her. Princess Anil smiles before raising a cup of hot cocoa and sipping. Lady Pin give you a letter to bring it to me, right? Brilliant. Prick raised a smile at the corner of her lips while handing a note, folded in half, to Princess Anil. Here, the letter said, "It's good to be back." How am I involved? Princess Anil's eyes as she read the words on the note were extremely dazzling. Even though the message there seemed devoid of traces, Princess Anil still smiled widely and very pleased. Prick! Prick, kneeling next to Princess Anil's knee, was startled when she heard her name called. If she guessed correctly, it would probably be a big you bit. That's it. She guessed it right. Prick secretly sighed when she saw Princess Anil bend down to write a message in the same notepad before tearing it off to fold it in quarters and handing it to Prick as previous. Please give this letter to Kunpin. Knock knock. Still coming. Pelantita asked Prick in a tone that sounded like she was tired. Nevertheless, her eyes that glanced at the little letter in Prick's hand were dazzling with satisfaction. This question I think you should ask Princess Anil, right? She's playing like a child. Pelantita's eyes flickered up to give a cold look to Prick, but her lips couldn't help but smile a little shyly when she read the short sentence in the letter. The letter said, How can't you not be involved? I miss you. Pelantita's face turned red like a ripe tomato. She folded the letter back in quarters before holding it tightly. You can go back now. It's getting late, and I'm going to rest. Lady Pin quietly closed the door as soon as she finished speaking, leaving Prick standing in front of the room confused for a long time. But then there was no reply letter from Lady Pin. Prick doesn't have to go back and forth to get tired. Thinking like this, Prick walked back to the Pine Palace with a cheerful gesture. Hmm. Princess Anel's voice sounded extremely surprised when she saw Prick walk back empty handed. Why didn't you have a reply letter from Kunpin to me? That question I would like to know as well, Prick replied. Hmm. Princess Anil tapped her index finger on the textbook rhythmically, thinking. After a moment, she smiled. Then let's try this. Come closer to me. She waved her hand, calling Prick closer, then bent down and whispered something in Prick's ear, which caused her brown eyes to widen in shock. If you do as I say, believe me, I won't just receive a letter this time. Princess Anil raised a smile to the corner of lips in a highly sly manner. Maybe I might get a postal package. Knock knock. Prick. Kunpin? Princess Anil remained silent and waited behind the bedroom door for a long time. Later, when she was sure that there was no response from the person standing on the other side knocking on the door, she opened the door to greet the visitor at this time of night. It is Kunpin. Princess Anil's eyes shone brightly, like a girl receiving a toy she liked. Come in first. Philantita's face was still sullen as Princess Anil led her to sit on a long sofa at the end of the bed. I haven't seen you for so many days. Don't keep making a sullen face. Princess Anna lifted Pilantita's rounded chin to look at her in the eyes. Nevertheless, the young woman pushed back by pushing the prince's body away from her. She moved closer to the armrest of the other side of sofa and looked the other way in an extremely protest gesture. Kunpin, it was not only Princess Anel's voice that sounded sweet and pleading, because her dark eyes had this longing sight for warmth from the person in front of her, like a child crying out for her mother's embrace. You made me angry. After Princess Anel's behavior, Lady Pen finally talks to the room owner, and this time I'm outraged. Are you angry that I returned to the palace after dark for many days? That's one of the reasons, Plantita said as she used her small hand to rub her right cheeks in displeasure. The more she thought of the terrible incident that had just happened a moment ago, the more she felt even angrier. The incident which just happened few minutes ago. Knock knock. Haven't you stopped playing? Even speaking like that. Lady Pen quickly opened the door to welcome Prick, as if anxiously waiting Prick's visit. Not yet, my lady. So where's the letter? I apologize to you, Lady Pen. Princess Anel, she asked me to give it to you. Prick raised her hands to bow over her head and stared at the Lady Pen with pure innocent eyes. So she didn't realize it. She didn't think for a moment that after saying the pointless letter sentence of apology, Prick would come straight and wrap her big, thick arms around Pilantita's head to steal a big kiss from her cheek before quickly seizing the opportunity when Lady Pin was still stunned. Prick ran down in a frantic gesture, fearing Princess Padmika would hear loud noises. Now, coming back to present, we can see Lady Pin getting angrier on Princess Anil. But I'm angrier that you asked Prick to come to kiss my cheek in the room. Plantita continued to keep on rubbing her round cheeks with her hand. No, I didn't tell Prick to kiss you. I just asked her to do it for me. Princess Anil accidentally laughs, making the protesting person feel even more sulking. You shouldn't ask her to. Plantita pursed her lips. My cheeks are yours only. I'm furious that you allow Prick to do this to me. Then what must I do to make you stop being angry at me? Princess Anel slowly moved her body closer to Plantita's body. She glides her index finger against the back of Lady Pen's hand gently, wishing to comfort the person in front of her. Or will you ask Brick to kiss me on my cheek as a revenge? Anil! Pelantita's voice sounded displeasing. It seems it will be challenging for her to defeat the sly person. Aside from me, don't even think about letting anyone touch your cheek, Lady Pelantita said. Princess Anil's deep dimple showed when she smiled. She wrapped her arms around Pelantita's petite, fragile body and gently kissed her on the cheek. If I keep kissing on top of Prick's kiss like this, can that be considered redemption? Pelantita's pointy natural lips now twisted into a wavy shape but didn't prevent herself from Princess Anil's non-stop kiss. Have you gotten over your anger with me yet? Princess Anil asked before bending down to kiss the forehead of the person in her arms affectionately. If you keep kissing on my cheek, I might. Pelantita raised her clear brown eyes to meet Princess Anil's eyes meaningfully. But if tonight you do more than just kiss on the cheek, maybe I'll get over my anger with you faster, Lady Pelantita replied. So, guys, with this, we end our chapter 36, and I'll see you tomorrow with next chapter 37. And those who have subscribed me, thank you from bottom of my heart. And those who have not, it's okay. Please take your time. No hurry. Thank you.